writing Ocean with you guys, I think we knew kind of what our vibe was and what felt really good song wise. That particular day, I had spoken with you a little bit, Davis, about kind of what I felt we needed for to finish out this record, because at that point we had probably, I think, 5 more songs to record. You had come up with kind of that like synthy, simple beat, just really earthy sounding track. I had a few lines written out, which I think ended up becoming that first verse, but had no title, had no concept, had no idea where it was going to go from there. And you guys both really helped mold it into what it became.
I remember we were kind of not, like trying to figure out what path we were going to go on. And then I remember you just spat out that whole first verse pretty much. Yeah. And we were like, oh my God. I remember that. Yeah. And it was amazing. It's so honest and autobiographical sounding. It was just beautiful and it was perfect. And I think that first verse was just you had that.
That was the thing, right? We were talking about, I wanted something that felt autobiographical. And I'm so I just love how broad feeling that the concept of the chorus is. So much of what I believe and what I'm holding on to, especially right now, is that everything happens for a reason. Everything works out the way that it's supposed to. Everything leads you to the next thing of where you're supposed to be. I love so much that we were able to capture that in this song, because that ended up being such a huge theme throughout this entire record. Here is probably my favorite song off of the entire album.
I mean, back when we first wrote, back in the old days, I mean, you have so much more to write about now. You've lived, and it was evident on this record, it's it's interesting,
From a production side of things with Here, I remember kind of thinking about, we had a bunch of songs that were, as far as chord progressions go, they were pretty down the middle, kind of aiming at commercial kind of stuff. And I think that it was what if we do kind of an obtuse chord progression? What's going to happen? It was kind of in that experimenting phase of the record where it was I don't know. I think we just needed to chuck some different stuff in and just see what happens with it. You guys definitely latched on in a perfect way.
Your voice on the whole record, it's amazing. It's so fluid and it's just so beautiful. It's rangy and expressive, and it's a real instrument. And I think when you have that instrument in the room when you're writing, it's so inspiring. Mm-hmm. And I really feel your voice took us to places too, melodically. And I think it's one of those things. If you're a smart songwriter, you follow where those things are going. And I think your voice really inspired the beauty of those songs.
Thank you. And I have to give Davis a lot of credit too for making me sound so good and dealing with my neuroses.
I'm settling in, still settling in. Yeah, just to put it on record, I think I was only ever choosing from 4 or 5 vocal takes for this whole record. I mean, it just, your ability to, I'm always reminding you of your work ethic and your preparedness is how you get there. When you show up to sing, you're ready. And it's not you get there and you're oh, give me a few takes to warm up. That's annoying. You've always been this way since we've worked, but taking the demo home and by the time you come back to sing it, you don't ever need a lyric. You already know it. And so it's that's always a really cool thing. There's 2 little anecdotes. One is the birds, right? So the story behind that is that my studio in Nashville had a door in the back and we used to kick it open when we were writing if it was a nice day. And I remember we're going into track a verse or something. And the door was open and I was oh, hey, can you close that door? I can hear the birds. And then it was I mean, why not? I remember at that time I had been trying to like really study the Bon Iver record that was out at that time, and how much Foley is what that stuff's called, right? So how much stuff that they had just sampled and like brought in these really weird ways that would put you in this headspace. And it's like, oh, well, how cool is it if like we put birds in this intro and all of a sudden like you feel like you're somewhere different, right? And I love the video too, because the video like with all that stuff like really connects. My second favorite story is we had such an amazing band for this entire record. I mean, it was from engineering.
I know what story you're going to tell.
So Caleb, Rachel's, I almost said wife, husband, is such an amazing drummer and so versatile. And he and I have known each other for over 5 years, probably more. He was so perfect for this whole record because he knows how to play like kind of just deep pocket 70s tone drums that just always connect. And I really wanted it to like rock. I really wanted it to get big. And so we had played this song down a couple times in the studio, and every time it was great. But he's like not like going to the level that he's in a rock band. Like I needed him to like go, okay, take off the hat of like groove drummer and like put on crazy. And I remember like bringing him into the control room in there. And I used to be a football coach. And so I got kind of Coach Naish on him and got him all hyped up. And we were like crying, laughing because we were just great buds. And so this moment was just hilarious. And then he goes in and I give him a big smack on the ass. And I'm like, go get him. And he just absolutely busted the top open on that whole song. When he finally gets to that big fill at the end going into the last chorus, you're just like, oh, yes.
I think it was literally, that was the take that we used, was the one right after you gave him.
Yeah, I mean, you set him up, knock him down.
Yep.
Well, I'm so proud to be a part of this, and just honored that I'm on this record. And you guys are amazing and an incredible team and so talented. So both of you. So
working with you guys is such a dream. It's awesome, and I'm looking forward to when we get to do it again. And I'm just so proud of this album, but especially these two songs.